In this video, we'll discuss a challenge question from IBHL test paper. Rational function graph is given to us. We need to find its equation and then graph reciprocal absolute value of the same. We'll understand the strategy to solve such questions with a similar example. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. We have a very special series for all the IB students. Here is a very important question from IBHL exam questions. We'll not only see the solution but understand complete strategy and also provide you with a similar question to practice. So a parallel question which you should be practicing at the end of this video is right there before you. Minor changes have been done, however, it will give you an opportunity to apply the learnings and gain confidence, which is our major motive. In case you want to learn from me directly, you can always send an email on the address given, or you can visit our website, the Global Math Institute.
After attending university. The winner of this year's Certificate of Achievement Schulich Leader Award is Akshi Kandivani.
Great. Our student Akshit gets highest marks and the most prestigious Schulich Leader Award. You can be there. Join our classes and excel.
So let's begin with the strategy of solving such questions, right? The question here is, the graph of y equals to a plus x over b plus cx is drawn below. Find the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c, 4 bucks. Using the values of a, b, and c found in part A, sketch the graph of y equals to absolute value of b plus cx over a plus x on the axis below, showing clearly all intercepts and asymptotes. So I hope the question is absolutely clear. The very first part here is to get the equation of the rational function shown, right? So in the form of, we want the equation in the form of y equals to a plus x over b plus cx. So we need the value of a, b, and c. That's the thing. So let's try to understand the strategy. So I'll write down strategy here so that we clearly understand how do we do such questions. So strategy to find equation from graph, right? Right. So numerator, when is the numerator 0? Well, the numerator will be 0 when we have an x-intercept, right? So step 1. The question here is, which you should be asking, x-intercept. So x-intercept is at 2, right? So x-intercept is at 2, and that gives you a factor, which is x minus 2, right? So this factor will go here, right? That comes from our first question. Second question for us will be, they can be interchanged, vertical asymptote. Now vertical asymptote clearly is right there, right? Which is x equals to minus 2. So vertical asymptote is x equals to minus 2. And that gives you what? A factor which is x plus 2 in the denominator, right? So that gives you the factor in the denominator. Is that clear to you? The third thing which you need to figure out is horizontal asymptote, right? Okay, so let me choose another ink here, horizontal asymptote. So which is at y equals to 2. So that means we have a factor here. Let me call this as some k which is equal to 2, right? You get the idea. So these things give us the equation. Well, you could also have another factor here which is checkpoint. Check with 1 point critical is left y-intercept. Y-intercept which is y equals to minus 2. Okay? But you could reuse this for a checkpoint. That means when x is 0, then ratio of a and b is minus 2. So that basically means that a over b is equal to minus 2. You get the idea. That is what it means, right? Now, let's see how do we solve this, right? So we got all the factors. Let's put these things together. So put them together. Now these are the baby steps, small steps, which can immediately give you the equation of this rational function from the graph. Do you appreciate it? Right? Okay, see how. So we now got y equals to the factor of horizontal asymptote. Then the numerator we have x minus 2. And in the denominator we have x plus 2. Since we want a plus x, we do not want coefficient. So what will happen to this 2? Well, we'll divide in the denominator. So we could rewrite this as x minus 2 over half of x plus 1, right? And we can rearrange as shown, minus 2 plus x over 1 plus half x. Make sense? And now you can write down the solution. And clearly the value of a is minus 2. The value of b is 1. And the value of c is half. You get the idea? And you can check that a over b is indeed minus 2 over 1, which is minus 2. So that is correct. Do you see this part, right? So we got the solution completely, and we also checked the solution just as I've shown you here. You get the idea, right? So that is how you should be doing it. Now let's look into the part B of this particular question. So in part B, we have a different equation. So let's go to the next page. So we know that in part A, let me write down here, we got the equation y equals 2. So we actually divided by minus 2, right? So it was written in this form, minus 2 plus x over the value of b was 1, and then we wrote plus half x, right? That is how we wrote, right? Anyway, this is what we got, right? So this better way still, I prefer to write it as like this, x minus 2. And this 2 multiplied in the numerator as we did before, right? Half of x plus 1, or I will still write this as 2x minus 4 over multiplying both by 2, right? X plus 2 makes sense. So my equation really is like this. Perfect. So now in part B, what is the equation? Part B, we want to sketch absolute value of x plus 2 over 2x minus 4. Make sense? Basically this. So that half, I just wrote it like this, becomes easier. Well, it's not a bad idea to write half, otherwise also you could do, because that directly gives you the vertical asymptote, right? Correct? Okay. Now, so that becomes your equation to graph. The thing is, how do we graph now? For graphing this absolute function, we need to follow the steps. Let's see steps to graph. So first is the reciprocal of given function, and second is absolute value. Right? Second is absolute value. Well, from the given equation, you can find the values and also do x-intercept, y-intercept, and vertices. But we'll try to do it from the graph directly. See how. When you go for reciprocal, then the vertical asymptote gives you the 0, right? And the 0 will give you the vertical asymptote. All the values will be now divided by 2. I mean reciprocal. So 2 will become half, right? So this values will change. Now this is a very small graph. So what I'm doing here is going to a bigger graph just to give you the whole idea. So, so initially, let's take points one by one. This point at 2. Now this is a function, let's say f of x. And here we are drawing the function 1 over f of x. So in the first stage, I'm only sketching a reciprocal, right? So step 1. Reciprocal of f of x. I'll do absolute later, second step, okay? So I'm making it bigger. So at 2, we have a vertical asymptote. Do you see that? The horizontal asymptote, which was at 2, now becomes at half. Reciprocal of 2, right? Let's write down the value here. This was y equals to 2. 1 over 2, right? Do you see that? The y value becomes half. The y-intercept, which is at minus 2, will now be at minus half, right? So y-intercept will now be at minus half. Correct? The vertical asymptote, which was earlier at x equals to minus 2, will now become a 0 at minus 2. Make sense? You get the idea? So we have the critical points. Connecting these critical points, we get our graph. Let me sketch it once again. So I want to connect these 2 points, which I have done here very nicely, right? Correct. So that becomes this part, and here we have a similar part as a reciprocal function. So this is the reciprocal, where I have drawn the horizontal asymptote and the vertical asymptote, correct? Now finally, we are going to sketch the graph required, and which is, we'll now sketch the graph of y equals to absolute value of this function, 1 over f of x. You get the idea. So in step 1, sketch reciprocal. And in step 2, sketch absolute value. Make sense? If you know this, then you're always right. So the only thing which you have to do is flip the side which is negative, right, and retain which is positive, right? So for absolute value, this overlaps, correct? Because this is all positive. It is not going to change. Asymptotes will not change, both horizontal and vertical. However, this value of minus half will change to plus half, right? This will change to plus half. It will flip. 2 will remain at 2, and so we have a graph which is going to go like this. You see that? And we are going to retain this part as such. So we have a cusp at minus 2, 0. Do you see that? We have a vertical asymptote at x equals to 2. And we have a horizontal asymptote at y equals to half. Does make sense? And that's the end behavior. Do you see that? So here it is approaching, this is a horizontal asymptote. Y equals to half. Perfect. So that is the graph of the function required, which is given to us as y equals to absolute value of a plus x in the denominator and b plus cx in the numerator. You get the idea? So that becomes the solution. Is that clear to you? Perfect. Now with that in mind, I'd like you to answer this question. The wordings are very similar to what were there in the original question. And this question has come many times, and therefore, I hope it makes sense to solve such a question. So I hope with this, you have understood the complete concept to solve such a question. Feel free to make your suggestions, and if you have doubts, contact me on the address given. Thanks for your valuable time, and all the best.